You guys ever have one of those days where you just feel exhausted? You don't really feel like doing much? That's kind of how my whole week's been. But I'm going to work on getting this room cleaned up, getting the floor scrubbed so that next we can put that door in and get the trim painted and finish installing over there. And then I think we'll be just about ready. All right, let's get to it. You know, the Stoics say, suffering is not hard, the sufferer is weak. Feeling kind of weak right about now, but we'll get through it. and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be installing a bifold door on a closet. I'll give you the step-by-step instructions starting with building the frame. Alright, let's go. So the first thing we need to do is we need to cut these boards down to length. Now the manufacturer of my door recommends for a 28-inch door that we make the finished opening 81 inches by 28 inches. So we're going to cut these at 81 inches. Then we'll take these over to the miter saw and cut them off. And again, if you don't have a miter saw, you can do this with a regular circular saw. Next, we get to rip these boards down. Now, as you can see, I'm not doing this in a big shop with large fancy machines. I'm just building this in my garage with the tools I got laying around, including this pretty old Craftsman table saw. But you could do this with any circular saw. I would recommend getting a rip guide if you're going to do that, just so your cuts are accurate. But even that's not completely necessary. So we're going to set our fence at 4.5 inches. There we go. Okay, now it's time for assembly. So I forgot to hit record, but basically what I've done, as you can see here, is I've assembled the sides and the top of the frame. I did use a little glue at the joints and then stapled or used brad nails to join it together. So now we're going to get ready to put the side trim on there. We'll do the top pieces after it's installed. You need to measure for your reveal. That's the space between the edge of the frame and where your trim will start. And it kind of depends on what you like. I'm probably going to go 1/4 of an inch. And what you'll want to do, just measure in 1/4 of an inch or whatever you're going to go with. In a couple places, it'll just make it easier when you go to put the trim on. And again at the top. Now you want to measure the length of your trim. All the way to 1/4 of an inch past your sideboard. And that puts us at 80 1/4. So now we'll measure 80 1/4 at the edge where the corner of the trim will be. And this is going to be like that. And we're going to take that part off. Now we'll set our saw at 45. Give ourselves some room. Make sure we're squared up on the saw. That's the nice thing about these miter saws, especially if they got a light or a laser. You can see where you're going to cut. So we're at 45. And of course, it doesn't hurt to double check yourself. And we are at 80 1/4. Go. Now we'll want to line the point of this up to that 1/4 inch above the top while keeping the edge pretty close to 1/4 inch out. There we go. And the same thing over here. And there we go. Now the top piece, once that's in and leveled, we'll get it measured up and cut, and then we'll set it in place. But for now, we're ready to take it in. Hey guys, it's been a little while. Had some things going on and got delayed on this project. But look where we're at today. We're here installing the door. What we're going to do first is I'm going to find the center of the opening and the center of the door, and we'll get the frame centered in the hole. So let's get that done. We want to measure 2x4 to 2x4 instead of the drywall. It'll be more accurate representation. So we're looking at 14 and 15/16, which is right there. And for this one, we'll go from trim to trim. We are right at 33 1/8. We're looking at So we're looking at 16 1/16. Right there. That can't be right. Yeah, my math ain't mathing. Don't worry, we'll edit this part out. 33 half of 33, 16 1/2. Oh. 16 and a half. 16. 9 16. So we're 16 and 9 16ths. So right about there. There we are. We're pretty much there. It is right on. So I'm going to put a nail up here and then we'll adjust the level. So I was skeptical when I bought this about the accuracy of this level, but everything I've used it on, it's been pretty spot on, so I kind of like it. There we go. We are dead center bubble. We got one poking out a little bit. We're at 28. Let's check our level on this side. Compared to the distance, and it also appears to be dead center bow. We'll get some shims, shim and secure the frame on the inside. Won't take much, it's a little tighter than I thought it would be. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Let's go get a door. Well, I just remembered I hadn't done anything with the frame as far as treatment. I was undecided if I wanted to stain it or paint it. And since all the rest of the trim's gonna be white, I'm just gonna go ahead and paint it. So let's get that done real quick before we put this door on. We'll see if we can do this without making a mess. So next we need to find the center. We're at 4.5, so 2.25. And you can change that up if you wanted the door to be a little more flush with this. You could bring that out some, but I think I want it recessed a little bit, so we'll go center. That way I can look up in there and see the line. And yeah. Okay. Now we'll do the same thing down here. We'll find our center. I'm actually going to see if I can get a light mark on this at the center. Inch and a quarter. There we go. Okay, so on your door, you want to figure out which end is your pivoting in. In my case, it's going to be this side because I want the door to open this way. And that's where you will put these brackets. And they just push down in there, just like that. Same thing on the bottom, but it gets the one with the little attachment that will lock it into place. And you loosen that, slide it out. Set that pin in the bottom bracket. And line that pin up. Come on. Line it up with the back side. And I think I might be a little, may have to make an adjustment on this one. Let's see. It's not much, but I may have to adjust that a little bit. So we'll come back to that. Okay, so what I got to do now, but I need to set the gap, and you want it at about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to have to pull this out. Took a quick measurement. Almost there, maybe come out just 1 notch. Yeah. I'm hitting that screw at the top, so I'm not able to close it. It looks like we're in good shape. I'm going to tighten it down and we'll take a final look. Yeah, it's a little big at the top. So we'll scoot that back a little bit. A little more. Our gap is pretty consistent, so we'll tighten it down there. I forgot to put that on. Now, a lot of them, these are spring loaded and you can just push it down and lock it in. This one doesn't seem to be the case. So I'm gonna have to loosen that top back up, slide it out. Before I do that, I'm gonna have to give it a little space. The frame is just a little bit short. I think I got it too close to the bottom. I think I measured for the laminate flooring. So we'll just give it a little love tap. And we'll have to fill that in later. Okay. So we know the bottom's good. I'll just bring this out far enough. You can lock that in place. And what I should have done was marked where it was. So I wouldn't have to, and of course now it's hitting that screw. But we'll see. Oh, I'm gonna fill it out again. Yeah. Get off of there. I think I'm hitting that screw on this end, so I'm gonna have to give it another little love tap. I don't like doing that, but since we've already got it set and I didn't double check, that's what we got to do. Actually, I don't think it's, nope. Is that screw right there? It's got to be that. I think we got it. So there, folks, we have a door. So now we're ready to put the top trim on. And to do that, what we're going to do is we'll just take this full piece. We'll set it up here. Line it up real good. We're setting the thick side to the thick side. We'll mark our orientation. Make sure I didn't move it. Yep, we're still good. Make a mark right at the edge and mark our orientation. And that will give us where we want to cut this. So when we flip it over, it'll slide right in place. let's go get that cut. All right, so we're gonna make our first cut. At 45 degrees. Gotta put these on. I missed it by just a fraction, so we'll. And we shall go see how we did. All right, now I gotta go get some drill bits and we'll get the handle put on. But while I'm out there, I'm gonna grab a piece of trim and we'll start working on the top trim. So now, it should just slide right in. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Board's a little warped from being outside, but the nails will take care of that. So, I just want to put a little tight bond on here. And I think I'm going to need the ladder for this, which of course I buried in everything. Bring up the manipulator a little bit, just in case. Give it a love tap. All right, now we want to put our door pull. It'll go on the opposite side of our swivel. So it'll go right here. So now we'll find the center. This is 11.5. So we're looking for 5 3/4. So right there. You measure up. This is 2 1/4. So we're looking for 1 1/8. And that's where we'll drill our hole. You want to drill this hole just a little bit smaller. What your screw is. Well, guys, it's been another week. I've been outside working on the door and the door frame. Worked up a pretty good sweat. But let's get this weighing done and see where we're at. $319.5. 3.5 pounds. Well, it's that time again. It's been a little while. We didn't get a video out last week, but we should be able to get that door finished up and get the video out this week. But in the meantime, I did weigh in last week and I'm weighing in tonight. So let's see where we're at. $318. That's another 1.5 pounds for the week. All right, thanks guys. I couldn't do it without you. Coming up in the next video, we finish the trim, get it painted, get the outlet covers up, and finish the room. So come back next week to see that.